Greetings traders, this is Houston Trung from thetradinganswers.org, and here is your weekly market outlook for June the 1st to the 5th, 2020. And so the month of May is now in the books, and we enter into the final trading month of Q2. So sell in May and go away is now done, and frankly, May may have been a good time to sell. Because I'm calling this video, and you'll see it in the description for this video is going to be called Tipping Point. So I think we're now at a phase in this current rally where you could call this a tipping point, because we are very elevated in terms of price, yet the trend remains higher. So it's really a game now of musical chairs. So it's one of those situations where you don't want to fight in the trend, and the trend is your friend until the end. So at a certain point, everyone's going to get off the ride, and the last person stay on board is going to go down with the ship. But for now, this is the challenge: is you have to follow the trend, and the trend remains higher. So with that being said, we'll get into the charts and we'll explain what I mean by some of these intro points in a few moments here. But let's first talk about the econ calendar and the earnings calendar, and then we'll jump to the charts. So on the econ calendar, slightly slower week. We got ISM on Monday, not a big thing, but will be interesting to see. Some folks are watching that. We do have the jobless claims number on Thursday. That has obviously been trending higher. We're still getting over 2 million people in the states, that is, applying for jobless unemployment insurance. So that continues to climb, but the market's shrugging that off still. And then we have that employment situation number on Friday. Again, watching to see how the market reacts to these numbers. In terms of the earnings calendar, the busy earnings season has passed, but we do have some notable names this coming week. For me, I'm watching on Tuesday. You got Zoom reporting, so ZM, has been a high flyer. It'll be interesting to see how that one trades. CrowdStrike, another high beta name, high beta tech name, will be also interesting to see how that one trades. Bizan as well on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we got Canada Goose, so Canadian company here. I want to see how that trades, because that's been in the pits for a long time, and people are not expecting much out of that, so there could be a surprise coming in there. Zuo, so Zuora, another high beta name worth watching, and Cloudera, enterprise cloud company, good name to trade if there's liquidity. Then on Thursday, we got Work. That's basically Slack. A good company. It's been going right in the highs because everyone's using Slack as they work from home. Docu, another again enterprise software company, doing very well in these times. And MongoDB has been on a roll. So MDB, another good one to watch, been really flying. So question is, are these things priced to perfection, or did earnings kick things into even higher gear? Because as it stands now, things are trading with full momentum to the upside. So let's launch into the charts now, and we'll get into some of those intro points. So maybe I'll change a bit of gears today. So usually I save this chart towards the mid part of the videos, but today I want to actually start off right away with this chart. This is the SPY. That's the candles overlaid with the blue line. That is the number of S&P 100 stocks currently trading above their 50 period moving average. And so we are currently in very elevated levels. We're currently at very elevated levels. On Friday, we registered a reading of, let's see if I can I'll just open up my little legend here so I can see. We registered a reading of 96. We had 96 on Friday, Thursday and Friday. So that means 96%, or basically 96 out of 100 S&P 100 stocks are now trading above their 50-day. You really have to go back a ways to find a equivalent or slightly similar reading. You have to go back 2016. In fact, so 2016. If I zoom out here a ways, we had a similar reading way back here. This was 96 here, way back in April of 2016. Now, does that usually mean things are going to crash? No, it doesn't. So the reading itself is notable, but it's not actionable. So what we want to be doing now is being to see how price trades at these elevated levels. So back in 2016 here, you can see this prior level. So 96, where are we here? Let's zoom back here. So when we did get to 96% back here in April, it kind of did mark a top. Price did fall. Let's take a quick look here. This is not really the point, but I'm just curious. It did drop 3.3%, so nothing major. Again, we were trading in a very low volatility period at that time, so price did not come back that much. But over time, what you want to be actually looking for is, do these market internals, are they trading alongside price? So what we really want to be seeing here is, if the stock market continues to make higher highs, does this thing continue to stay at these levels, or does the market begin to climb with fewer participating underlying stocks? So that's going to create a negative divergence, right? So that's what you're looking for now. You're looking for a situation here like we had back in 2020, where the markets are making higher highs, like we saw back in January of 2020, and the number of stocks actually participating, as you can see very, very clearly from this line here, is actually decreasing, right? So this would be your traditional negative divergence. You see how that happened here? So we had, going into the all-time highs in 2020 in February, we had price making higher highs, but yet the internals were signaling lower highs, and lower lows. So that's what you want to be watching for now, equivalent to this. So this itself is not actionable. That's why I'm saying this is not a high probability signal by just shorting it because it's high like this, because price, as we know, can go a lot further than anyone can actually can usually fathom. So what you really want to be looking for now is complementing the price action with the understanding that this thing is elevated. So now when we start to see higher highs like this transpire, and we see lower highs on the S1FI indicator, then that's when you want to begin to ease up on your longs and get prepared for shorts. So right now it's not actionable yet, but we want to be definitely paying attention to this, because this is potentially now a tipping point. It's very, very hard for stocks to get higher than that, right? So unless it's 100%, which is only 4 more points away, this is about as good as it gets for the S&P 100. So just a quick contrast here. I'll just delete that line. Contrast that with the pits, the lows that we had back in March. Recall, we bought on March 23rd, right? Look back here, 1%, right? So we were down here. So this is the divergence to the upside, right? You see how back here we had 1%. We were actually 1% for about, we traded at 1%. That means only one stock was trading above its 50-day for, let's see, since the 12th here, all the way to, I'll say around here, right, to the 1st of April. So we were still down. Well, actually, there's already 6% there. So yeah, I'll say around here, right? So 27th. So within this, maybe 2-week period here, stocks were creating new lower lows, but obviously the stocks can, the number of underlying, wasn't going to go any lower than 1%. It wasn't going to go to 0, or it could go to 0, but it's hard to represent that in this type of indicator. So that's as low as it was going to get. Now you're looking for price to confirm the reversal, and that's what we saw in that reversal back on the 23rd. So now we know that we're at a tipping point. Again, price can carry itself a lot further, but it's worth paying attention to now for the market to signal if and when it starts to roll over, whether or not there is that negative divergence. Okay, so that is that chart. Let's now get into our usual analysis. So let's close out that chart and let's launch into our VIX analysis. So we'll start off as we always do with the VIX chart, and then proceed to the rest of our assets. Again, we'll spend a little more time in the beginning, and then we'll fast forward to towards as we get more into the middle part of the charts. So VIX, as it stands now, inside month down. So the month of May is now done, right? So basically, the end of the month as an inside bar and down situation. We spent a lot of the month actually trading inside the prior month's range. So as bearish as that looks, I mean, maybe it doesn't look too bearish to you, but it was an inside month and down at the end. It wasn't a clean inside month down break. It literally was, if you watch these videos, we talked about it for the past 4 weeks, that it was, kind of transpiring or trading inside this range here. In the final few sessions here, we managed to close below now that prior month's range. So continuation would be that you look for the VIX to continue to basically slope downwards. A big reversal would happen if you would somehow get price to break above May's highs. That would create the inside bar reversal on the monthly chart, and that would signal something quite powerful in terms of a reversal on the VIX. So that means it has to come back through this entire range here and take out the 42.86 area. Okay, so that's what would be required for that to happen. Now on the weekly chart, I'll zoom in here now. What we're looking at is we have momentum down on the weekly chart. So it's Momo down because we have an outside bar that came that then broke to the downside, inside bar down, right? So it's Momo down. There's still more momentum heading to the downside. So you can pretty much see here that for the most part, see the high there is 43, the high is 42.86. So that there is your prior month's high. But for now, I want to redraw our ranges. It went inside week and down this past week, and it didn't go that far. So we did close, let's see, the low here 33.35. We closed at 33.13. So it did close below the prior week's low, and so that means the sellers were in control here, and now we're looking for a continuation, right? You would void this signal. I mean, the signal will get negated if, or extinguished, if you can break above that pivot high. Okay, so 35.35, right? So inside bar reversal back to the upside. The issue for the sellers here is that you have all the time frames working against you. There's your quarterly open, there's your monthly open. That's going to be a lot to create a reversal. So even if you reverse the monthly charts, let's say you begin by reversing the weekly chart, right? You get a reversal by breaking above 35.35, and then the buyer somehow, I'm going to mark it anyways, I'll use it in orange as we always do in our monthly chart. If you can somehow break above that level, 43, you're still trading below the quarterly open, that blue line, right? So that means, and we're looking at a quarterly chart, and I'm sorry, this chart looks very small, so I'm going to zoom like that. It's still going to look red. Okay, so that little red bar there, that's what it's going to look like. It's going to look red still. So it's going to be very hard for the sellers to really turn things around, reverse things. I'm not saying it's impossible, but very difficult until next quarter. So Q3, that's when the sellers have a better chance at taking control. So as it stands now, that's what I'm kind of that's the premise that I'm working on, is that we continue to trend until the sellers have a chance to actually take control of the charts. And the most opportune time is at the beginning of weeks, months, and quarters. So looking at July period and early Q3 as a potential reversal. That's what I'm working with now based upon the current price action. Okay, so in terms of the days themselves, very tight trading this week. It was super tight. You can see how tight that range was, right? So so on Monday you gap down, but they bought it back right away. Okay, so you gap down here, but they bought it back right away. And then for the rest of the week, it's it was a down bar here, but it goes up inside, and then on Friday, you had the Trump speech at 2:45 on a Friday afternoon. The market liked what it heard, and it basically there's nothing in the speech itself that shook the markets. It was actually quite a good speech from Trump, where he stayed on script. Markets like that, and they basically sold the VIX, so that means no uncertainty going into the weekend. People were relieved and happy to take off their hedges going into the weekend. So that means they did not buy a bunch of puts, out of the money puts going into the weekend, and we saw the VIX basically sell off on a Friday afternoon. So there's your inside bar, outside bar now. So the question is on Monday is what side of the outside bar, this outside bar here, do you trade on Monday? If he goes outside bar down, there's your Momo down condition, which will be with full time frame alignment, right? You're going to have a new week here wherever it opens up, and if you can trade below that, that's going to be full time frame alignment. Why it was so choppy this week was because of one reason anyways is the mixed time frame alignment. See, you have a green week here, right? So you open here, and as soon as you break above that purple line, that's the weekly open, you got a green week. The problem is that it's not bullish for the buyers because it's still a red month and a red quarter. So you have some, opposing forces here, and basically you're sandwiched, right? So you can even see these moving averages if that's meaningful to you. It just shows me the strength of the trend. But there are people who are making decisions based on that, and for the most part, they just can't clear them because it's just too much time frame conflict, right? People looking at different time frames are not seeing the same thing, so you don't have a clear, it's not a clear bullish signal and it's not a clear bearish signal because you got a green week, but you have red months and red quarters, so you end up getting a bunch of chop here, and then finally end of the week, they sell it off. So on Monday, case the thing what we're looking for now is on what side of this outside bar are you going to break on Monday? Down, that'll be Momo down. If you get that Momo down, you can possibly take out the prior week's low, and there's your continuation of your inside weekend down. Or does it do reversal, right? Go outside bar up, that's Momo up, and then you get a possible inside bar reversal there on the week, right? So that's the weekly chart there. You get above that, this Friday high, that gets interesting, right? Because then you get a Momo up there, you get an inside bar reversal on the weekly chart. Still a lot of time frame misalignment, so I'm not looking for that scenario that much because it's going to be very choppy still, but that's something you need to watch out for. So just to show you here the on the daily chart, the EMEA just kind of hold this little blue line, the 8th EMEA kind of held price for the most of the week, right? So you're above the weekly open, but every time they're unable to close above that 8 period EMEA, so it's certainly trending at this point to the downside. You can't really argue with that. So it kind of sandwiched in between those two levels. On the 2-day chart, this is how tight it was. All right, look, outside bar, inside, inside. So double inside bar. That's 4 days of trading inside of this bar's range. So on Monday, once again, we want to see how we break outside of this bar. Double inside bar. We're expecting an expansionary move now coming into the new week if it breaks outside of that. Okay. Now let's jump to SPY. SPY, we'll do this for the one index, and then we'll speed things up. So on the high time frames, just so you know, right? So you're aware, SPY is still outside inside on the quarter. Okay, so we still got a month left of trading. So this bar may remain inside bar, or you can go outside bar up, outside bar down. That's all that can. Those are the only 3 situations that are going to happen this quarter, right? It'll remain like this, outside inside. It'll go outside bar up or outside bar down. That's all that can happen. So right now it's an outside bar, inside bar consolidation, right? Consolidation wise, for the monthly chart, you did do this. Momo down, inside bar, and the buyers took control again by breaking above April's highs. So now you have an inside bar month and up. So that's a strong move to the upside now, and the buyers are in control there. Again, a reversal would happen if you can break below the May's lows, right? So that would cause a reversal on the monthly chart. So the sellers have to take it down there to reverse the monthly chart. On the weekly chart, Momo up. So that's what I was saying earlier. Momo up, outside bar up, up. Momo up. No time during this week, even with the selling, did we come even close to taking out the prior week's low, right? That's what is required to create a reversal, meaning it had to try to take out last week's low, this week's low, or last week's low, excuse me, to create a weekly reversal. Did not even come close to happening. That would extinguish the momentum. It did not come close to transpiring. That's just how strong the buyers are in control. All dips are being bought at this point, and if you're fighting it, you're not heeding the message that I've been trying to share is that the prices are going up because it's an uptrend, whether you like it or I like it or anyone likes it or not. The price is going up. So on the daily chart, it's very tight stuff. It was a very tight week. So here's the issue: you open up here. There's a weekly open right there. And SPY was actually doing a lot better than the Qs. Surprisingly, the Qs I think was the underperformer this week. Tech had been beating the pants off of every other index up until this past week. Tech took a bit of a break. Most of the week pulled back a bit. It was actually the weakest of looking at the charts, I believe. Maybe Russell was a little bit weaker. We'll see in a few moments here. But yeah, SPY. Here's the thing. It goes gaps up on Monday, but does not fade the gap, right? So it doesn't do anything. It was a big gap up. They could not come all the way down here to fill that gap. So there's an unfilled gap here now. I guess we can draw it. We can take this line that previously got filled, and we'll put it down there. Okay, so we have another unfilled gap that got filled here on Monday, right? So there's our filled gap on Monday. We have another unfilled gap right there. So let's take another one of these lines here. and clone that one, and we'll take it and we'll drag it right there because that's another unfilled gap right there for us. Okay, at the 304.32 area. So tight stuff on SPY. It gaps up, it comes in. So now you got a red week. On Tuesday they had a big battleground because they actually sold it off. You know, they took it all and it nearly went down to the 8 period moving average, and they bought it back again. So they broke it and bought them back. That's what they often do, is you break it because you stop out any of the short-term traders who are getting in late, or late longs who are weak, and they stop them out and they pull it back up again. Then it goes Momo up on Thursday, and on Friday they sell it off in the morning and they buy it back in the afternoon. So a little, you know, it's very choppy trading. It's very, very choppy stuff there. As you're getting 2 days where you have the prior bar's lows get taken out, so it is quite choppy this past week. So this coming week, what you want to look for is this here. This is what I'm watching for. You have an inside bar now, but looks just like the Momo. We had a Momo week up on the week, and there was no threat of extinguishing that Momo on the weekly chart. There is no threat of extinguishing the Momo up condition on the 2-day chart either. So what, Momo up, inside bar for the past 2 days, right? So there's no chance of this thing. There's no chance, but it wasn't even close to taking out that level yet. So until this level gets taken out, you know, there's still a Momo up condition on the 2-day chart. So you want to see how this inside bar breaks, and on the 4-hour chart you have this. So in the short time frame chart, you got an outside bar down, and as soon as it takes out that high, so the final 4 hours of the trading day, they took out that pivot high, and now they're going after Thursday's highs. So right now the buyer's in control. You want to see if this thing continues and how this 2-day inside bar breaks. Okay, on the SPY, that's what I'll be looking for on Monday. On Qs now, Qs slightly different than the rest of the indices here. Qs on the monthly chart, outside bar and down, did not go inside bar. It actually went outside bar down, up, up. So now you're only 1.76% away from those all-time highs. So less than a 2% day. It could be a 2% gap up on Monday. Who knows? And that would put it back in all-time highs. That's how close we are now to all-time highs, believe it or not. Okay, so this could change the quarterly chart very quickly here, because right now the quarterly chart, it's still an inside bar. Okay, so outside bar for Q1, inside bar for Q2. In Q2, you know, you're only 2% away. So if this thing goes like this and breaks above Q1's bars, that's Momo up, right? That's Momo up condition. So you know that is going to be very, very exceptionally strong if they can pull off a Momo up condition on the quarterly chart. It'd be very, very exceptional there. So you know, it'd be very we're living historic times. That's all. That's putting it mildly. So on the weekly chart, we had definitely a bit of a shakeout, because this week we had an outside bar. That means the prior week's low got taken out. But you know, at one point, so if you imagine this, at one point this bar was all the way down here, it was all red. It was all red, pointing to the downside. It looked quite bearish, right? And you actually extinguished the Momo when you took out that low there. But look how it closed. That's a shooting. That's a bullish hammer, right? So showing a strong momentum there, momentum hammer you can even call it. And so now, if you get a bar that breaks above here this coming week, so let's just redraw our ranges. If we break above this past week's highs, then you know that'll be Momo up on the weekly once again. That means the Momo is gonna kick back in again, and we're gonna, that's gonna perhaps take us to the all-time highs. All-time highs right there, not far away. Okay, so on the Qs, what do we want to talk about here? This one here. So Q is right here. Let's just talk about the 2-day chart first. 2-day chart here. So outside bar goes down. Okay, so that's Momo down, and then it pop it back up on Thursday, Friday, and does it take enough? Yeah, high there is 233.57. Yeah, so this pivot here took out that there. Sorry, this bar took out that pivot high there. That's what you'd expect, right? So this is what the levels you're going after. So anyone who got short in this sequence, you put your stop up here, you got stopped out on Friday, right? So that's that pivot there, or that pattern worked out. Outside bar down, back up again, taking out that prior pivot's high. And so on the 4-hour chart, what we ended up with is this sequence here. What do we have on the 4-hour? Actually, nothing too relevant on the 4-hour. Yeah, actually, what I do want to show is this, right? So like the SPY, we gapped up and we came back in on the Q. So here's the entire week's trading, right? You gapped up You came back in, and that weekly open held the whole week. See that weekly open? They could not crack above that weekly open. That's how tight it was. And this is what usually happens. When I talk about if you open up high and you lose control of that, this is what can often happen, because then you have mixed time frames, meaning there's some folks who are looking at that weekly chart. If you recall that one here, right? It looked like this, and it's red. So even though the month and the quarterly are green, so that's your orange line there, and the purple line's even further down, you're stuck beneath that weekly open. So you're kind of stuck below that line there, and it really requires a lot of buying power to break above that weekly open. In this case, it did not happen this week, and that acted as natural resistance. So that's a very, very useful level to be watching, because it's a naturally relevant level. Okay, so on the cues, this is what we're looking for now on Monday. You got the outside bar. Okay, on the daily, buyers definitely took over control on Friday, and so now can you break above the outside bar high? That's Momo up, right? That'll not only be Momo up on the daily, it'll be Momo up on the weekly, and ultimately, like we said already, it could turn into a Momo up on the quarterly, and and that's that's full time from alignment. So the trend is definitely up. Let's go now down. We'll go a little faster. We don't have to go through all the indices now, but that's basically the same picture. Inside bar up on the Dow on the month. So Momo up on the week, like we said already. Momo up on the week, and Dow same thing basically as the SPY. What do we want to talk about here? Here's an interesting thing in the Dow though. So for the most part, the Dow held above its weekly open, which is why you had a nice green week on the Dow. But look at this black line. That black line, you know what that is? That's the 200-day moving average. So I only look at a few moving average levels because I know a lot of traders look at it, which is why I believe they're self-fulfilling. But that level is certainly one that people are looking at. That 200-day. How does price transact around that 200-day? Right there on Tuesday, it hit it and it could not break above it. Broke above it. It actually opened above it, but it came back in. Friday, excuse me, that's Thursday. It says Friday. Friday they sold it off until they hit the weekly open. They bought it back again, right? Turned into support. That was resistance. Turned to support, and they supported it there. They bought it back up, but you're still trading below that 200-day moving average. So a lot of folks continue to watch to see how that plays out. Okay, so that's your Dow chart. One thing I do want to show on the Qs again. I think the one thing I did want to mention, right here. You can see how strong the trend is. Just take a step back and take a look at that. The strength of that move. They're buying basically. Buyers, as I said already, are buying all dips. So Tuesday you had the biggest selling day of the week. That was enough to take out the prior week's range, right? So here, this bar here, it's low. It was lower than the prior week's range. That creates the outside bar, right? So look at that. It hit the 8 period and it came as far down. It came very close to the 20 period, and then they bought it back. So they break them and then they buy it back again. I.e., you stop out anyone who got long here in this sequence the prior week. And then if they want to get back in, they got to chase. And that's what causes this action on a Friday. That's what you kind of, you can begin to have a good understanding how the markets are going to work when you understand this dynamic playing out. You realize, hey, if people actually want to get back in the market, this could possibly lead to an explosive move later on in the week because they're going to have to buy back in again. And that's going to create something like this. Okay, so that's why you had a big outside day on Friday, because once the news, the headline risk was off the table, people just bought it right back again. So there's your Qs. Let's go to Russell now. Russell, so Qs again pretty much flat for the week, only 1.6% on the week in terms of returns. Russell, let's see here, Russell. So yeah, Russell the weakest of all of them. So Russell though, inside month and up right now, still inside quarter. On the weekly chart, it's still Momo up though, right? So nowhere. So even though we had a negative week, actually it wasn't even negative. It's actually 0.297. Just shows up as a red bar because it closed lower than where it opened, but it's still up on the week. So you can see here that it's Momo up, and at this point here, on when the week's all said and done, did not come close to taking out the prior week's low. So that Momo up condition remains, and again we're watching to see if they can take out this past week's low, to extinguish that momentum. Okay, so Momo up on the Russell, and maybe just to to test this out here. So here's an interesting observation. So here's the week, right? So we open here, it gaps up, it pulls back a bit. On Tuesday we had the bigger pullback, but they buy it right back again, creating the outside bar, and it goes Momo up. Okay, it goes Momo up. When it does that, up again, and then they extinguish the momentum right there on Thursday by cutting that, coming right back through the range. See how that happens? Outside bar up. This can often happen when you have Momo up conditions. Is that it comes right back in to take out the original mother bar. So that's the original mother bar, the original outside bar. Excuse me. So that's your outside bar. Outside bar up, up. It takes that pivot low there, and now they know their stops here. So they go back in and they pull them all the way back through again, stopping out anyone who got long in this sequence and had their stops in this area. So that low here is lower than that low there, right? So that's basically stopping everyone out who got involved there, and they have to buy back in again, which could lead to more buying if people decide to step back up. So here's the interesting part. That orange line, that's an important level. You know what that level is? That level is this on the monthly chart. That level there, the prior month's high, right? So it's an inside month and up. Okay, so that's basically our familiar. If you're watching these videos, that's the good old breakout retest scenario, right? So the second mouse gets the cheese. So these folks here on the 4-hour chart, if you buy this breakout, and some people did, right? They bought the breakout on the gap up. Okay, immediately you're wrong. Your timing's off, because as you buy that breakout, not only chasing, because the level's here, right? The level's right there. The level's 136.85. That's the prior month's high. If you buy that, if you don't honor that level and you chase price, if your stop's too tight, you got stopped out in the next 4 hours. Let's say you put a wider stop. It works out for you a little bit, right? It works out. It's Momo up. You're like, hey, that feels pretty good. I'm up. Let's say I bought in around here. We're opened. I'm up. I bought 140.20 as an example, right? Let's say 140, and you get as high as 144.74. So you're up $4 and $4.74. That sounds pretty good until it comes against you, right? Like then you lose it all, right? So you're up a decent amount of money, and all of a sudden it goes, whoop, and now you're underwater. You're like, how'd that work? I was up a decent amount of money, then all of a sudden now I gave it all back, and now you're like, I can't let a winner turn to a loser, right? So I gotta stop myself out. So you stop yourself out either at par or at a small loss, and guess what? That's the level the whole time, 136.85. So this is what happens with people if they're impatient and they get the FOMO and they have to get in. That's the Pareto entry right there, right? So this again, if you're going to take this entry, then you have to get out somewhere in here. Your method has to give you some sort of exit signal as you're going into highs, right? Otherwise, this is the way better area because you're honoring the level, 136.85, and now you just did a reversal off of this pivot, right? Off that level there. Okay, so you'd be a good buyer in this area. That's the better buy because anyone who chased got stopped out. So always a great refresher, this past week on why we don't chase. Okay, so let's go on to TSX. How did TSX do? If you recall TSX last week, wow, it was a snooze fest. Basically nothing happened in TSX. This past week, a slightly green week, but still very tight trading for TSX. So very, very tight stuff. Okay, so inside month and up. So May ends the month as a up month, but up 2.79%, but still trading inside of April's range. A weekly chart, we did go outside, inside, and up. So that was the expansionary period we're looking for. Inside, outside, inside. It did expand this week. It went up 1.87%. And it closed right at that level. So right above there. So now, what you do not want to see for the TSX is, if you're a buyer, that is, you do not want to see it doing a reversal. If it breaks below this past week's low, next week, that reverses that. And you have to watch out because you got the monthly open right there and the quarterly open right there. So if you open up here, right, and all of a sudden you reverse, that's kind of bearish because, again, as I said already, if you open high, you can't hold it. You're gonna have that natural level of that natural opening level acting as resistance. So again, you got a brand new month, weekend month opening up here this coming week, this coming Monday, and so again, you want to see how you trade around that level because, again, if you open right here and all of a sudden you trade down, you're gonna be trading below the week and the month, and then all that's supporting this thing is a green quarter. But that will definitely attract sellers to come into this and potentially try to short this thing and push it back down again. So watch out, TSX not out of the woods yet. You want to see this thing back up, push up a little further, because the TSX frankly has been a little lethargic, right? The moves have not been that great. Although the momentum has been extinguished, it needs to shut up or to put up or shut up. So here's the thing you need to watch out for the TSX. Right now the buyers could regain control here, or could remain in control here, if they can break above Friday's 4-hour high. So the last 4-hour high of the day, because that's an inside bar down. You break above that high there, going after that pivot high there. Inside bar reversal to the upside, possibly, if you can break above that prior high. So we'll redraw our month high there. So we'll keep it where it is. So there, we'll draw these two levels there. We'll watch for that. Okay. So, but on the daily chart, you do have this outside bar up, and it goes outside bar up and down again to extinguish that momentum, that small bit of momentum they had on Thursday. But they did buy it back right here, right? So you have a bit of a hammer there. But again, if you break below that low, they're going after that pivot right there, which could possibly create that inside bar and down situation on the weekly chart that I just talked about. Emerging markets, even after all the discord that's happening between China and the U.S., the Asian markets, emerging markets, EM, the ETF is actually showing pretty strong. So here on the monthly chart, inside bar up, we end the month up roughly 3%. Okay, so again, you do not want to see this low get violated this coming month if you're a buyer of EM, because if you break below that low, it's a reversal. So weekly chart, very tight stuff. So inside week, again, even with all the discord coming out of the geopolitical risks that are coming out between the two countries of China and the U.S. So far, it's just an inside week. No selling yet. In fact, these prior two red bars here, kind of people kind of forgot about that. Now you need to be watching for that, because it's a tight week. You want to see how it breaks outside that range with the new week and new month coming on Monday. Okay, so that's the level to watch for. Okay, so yeah, that's the level to watch for, that inside week on EM. Bonds, people took a break from buying bonds this past month. So slightly red month on TLT, outside, inside, and down, but not a lot. Down a little less than 2%, minus 1.89, but pretty much still inside of April's range. So we took a bit of break buying bonds here. Bonds, again, you're trading here now below the quarterly open. So this is kind of the mirror opposite of the indices. So for bonds, it did go inside week and down, like we saw on the VIX. So kind of similar in that scenario there, inside week and down. But once again, if you're a buyer, seller of bonds, you do not want to see this thing do an inside bar reversal to the upside, right? So if it takes this week's high, breaks above it, then you might have full time, not full time for alignment, but you'll have the monthly and weekly working in your favor, because the quarterly's still there, but you could have the month and weekly wherever it opens around here. So you want to watch for that. Okay, so there's your TLT, and they did do the outside bar and down Momo extinguishing thing on Friday. So Momo down, right? Turned green on the day. So this is a nice red dog reversal right here. And then on Friday they completed it by taking out that pivot high there, but all still below the weekly open. Look how tight that is, right? So that's how tight it was. They could not turn that weak green, because that turned into resistance. They popped above it a few times, but they could not keep it green on the week, and that leaves us with a red week, slightly red. Okay. Gold, MGC, micro gold futures contract. For the most part, gold has been a non-event. So we're in a situation now where people basically took a pause, from buying gold this past month. Still green month though, but you can see it was an inside month. So we had such a big gain, such big moves in the month of April, and that's March, April, May, a bit of a break. Even though it's up 3.39%, it's not like we hit the month that we had prior to that, where it's up 6%. It was a lot of volatility. It was a very, very quiet month of May, and so that's actually a good thing sometimes, right? You let the batteries recharge, and you let the markets consolidate, and now we can expect a more expansionary type of move going into the month of June. So inside month now, how does that break outside that range? Because that could potentially be expansionary. Inside bar up, that's Momo up still, right? Momo up going into highs, but that's Momo. If you break it down here, that extinguishes that momentum to the upside. Again, this is an inside month, right? And look how choppy it's been. It's an inside month, so it went inside week, up, up and then back down, and stopped out everyone, right? Because this low here is lower than that low and that low. So you can see, and not quite that low, but anyone who bought this breakout here, and who got long, the first week of May, they were sitting underwater at one point this past week. So you imagine sitting on a position for a good 3 weeks, and it's trading red. So definitely, did pop back up again on the last on Friday, but certainly it isn't going anywhere. Right, it's not going anywhere fast, which is why you get that inside month. Understanding that it's important to set the expectations properly. So we got kind of a bullish hammer now, and you want to see how that breaks this coming week, because you break above this week's high, right? That will trigger the inside month. That's how price works. So there's your inside month. You break above the week here, that will go off to that pivot, and that will trigger the inside month up. So that's what you want to be watching for right there, that level right there. Break above that, very, very good chance you break above that, and then it causes the inside month break to the upside. So that is that on the weekly chart. And on the 2-day chart, looks like this possible inside bar reversal to trigger all that. It's actually started already, excuse me. So we need to see continuation of that. So went inside bar and down for the first couple bars of the week, and then they go inside bar reversal by taking out that pivot high. They went after that, and now they're going, and they close out the highs to close the week there. So now there you go. See if that can continue or not. BTC finally, digital gold, finally getting a bit of a move on the weekend. It's been a very, very quiet week and month for Bitcoin, even after the halving. So let's go to the Bitphoenix chart. Just full disclosure, I'm long a lot of different cryptos again. I think it's been some pretty tight trading, so just adding to positions on these small pullbacks. So very long cryptos again. And so on the BTC chart, it's just been going up very, very slowly. So it's an up month in April, up 34%, and up a small 10% in the month of May. So by Bitcoin standards, quite a conservative month. So now we redraw our ranges. You do not want to see, well, let's just say you want to see these levels hold. That's the wrong chart there. That's quarterly. I'm going to get rid of that. You want to see how we trade around these ranges now to see if the monthly ranges hold or not. So on the weekly chart, you did have a lower week here. So it went inside week and up on the last week, but this week it actually took the prior week's low out, right? So stopped anyone who got along this sequence here. But look, it bounced off that monthly open. That's why the opening levels are so important. I talk about every single video, and can't espouse enough about the importance of understanding how price reacts to these levels. Okay, so the monthly open holds. That means the month is still green. Okay, so green month, green week for Bitcoin, up close to 10%. And 2-day chart, here we go. So I'm long Bitcoin. Look, inside bar down, inside bar reversal back to the upside, and it's come back up again. We'll see how far it goes. You got some sellers at 10,000. We'll see if it can break above that. But issue Bitcoin right now, and I think there's other cryptos that are better, not better in terms of fundamentals, but have that are more tradable. But Bitcoin right now sitting inside this outside-inside situation on the quarterly chart. So kind of like equities, like how are you going to break outside this outside-inside? Does it stay inside bar, or do you somehow go outside bar up, and then that if it goes outside bar up, that's full Momo, and then we're going after that pivot right away. So that's something to watch for now. That's why those red lines are drawn in, because you want to see, can you break above 10,491 on Bitcoin? If you do, watch out. That's going to be Momo and up on the quarterly chart. Okay, so for now, Bitcoin taking a bit of a breather. Well, it's not taking a breather, but it's just moving very, very slowly. But that's constructive as well. It's basically basing, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, so let's talk about a few fast fire stocks, and we'll wrap things up. If you recall last week's video, I talked about a few names. Here's an update on a few names. Pins was one of them. Pins is an interesting stock because it went outside bar down, and now extinguished that momentum to the downside, and it's come back up now to try to take out that pivot high. If you contrast that with the monthly chart, you also have that it's been a nice big gainer on April, up 33%, and more importantly is that weekly chart. It's come back up to take out that pivot high. It's already on its way, right? So that's pins there. So that there, pins here. Now we have a new month. That orange line is the daily chart. It'll be somewhere down here, wherever it opens up on Monday. But we had this pivot here, outside bar, inside bar reversal, back to the upside. Pins. MU, nice one this past week. I'm in this one myself. quite the rocket day we had. I think it was on Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember which day it was exactly. But I was, saying it was an outside inside on the week, right? So we're looking to see for the next bar to be expansionary, and we got it this week. We got a big expansionary move this past week on was it Tuesday or Wednesday? Let's take a quick look here. What I like about MU here is that we also have consolidation on the monthly charts. We have double inside month now. So now you really want to be paying attention to how this range breaks. And you go back to that weekly chart, right? Because there's the Momo bar we had, the outside bar we had on this past week. If you break above this bar's high, that's Momo up. That Momo up would trigger the inside break of the monthly charts. That's something to be quite interesting to watch. I'm long MU, and the break we had, that was on the 27th. So that was on the Wednesday, right? So here's your Monday. Tuesday was a big sell-off. It was so that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Tuesday it was a sell-off day. All right, so they sold it off, the Qs, until it wasn't, right? So they bought it right back again very aggressively, and that, because MU basically, I don't know if you follow MU, they did pre-announce or gave some guidance in terms of earnings. It looks like it's going to be strong, and people like that. Look at the volume there. So we had some block trades coming in there, and they really picked up MU, triggering the outside bar because you took out the prior week's lows. But then this buying here took out the prior week's highs, creates the outside bar in the week. It pulls back again, and look, it pulls back right to that level, the weekly open, the monthly open. And that means anyone who chased this got stopped out on that, right? So again, the same same old. That's just the way the price works. Just the nature of traders to chase price, and then they end up getting stopped out on that sequence before it starts to move back up again. Okay. Let's look at FireEye. Here's one that I'm also long. Interesting name. Outside, inside, and it is a break to the upside. So that's a good name to watch. This FireEye. So I think it's just getting going, possibly, right? Look, it goes inside month and up now. So that inside month and up gets triggered there. So now you have a lot more month possible to go back up here to take out that prior high there. Okay, so FireEye. Interesting name. Okay, let's talk about now the some potential ones that I'm adding to my watch list this coming week. IQ, a lot of interesting Chinese names. After Trump's speech threatening some of the Chinese ADRs, they responded actually pretty well. So we'll have to wait and see if there's any any retaliation out of China or what happens. But IQ, there's going to be volatility, so that's what matters most. Outside inside on IQ. So watch for that. That's basically the IQ is the Netflix of China. Momo, this chart has been in a downtrend for a while. Momo to the downside, that is. So outside inside, this could be a break. So do we have earnings coming up? I think earnings already passed, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, earnings were on Thursday. So outside inside, let's see how that one resolves. GBTC, right? We talked about Bitcoin being pretty constructive. Well, GBTC now, this is obviously the it's not a Bitcoin ETF, but it's a Bitcoin trust. It holds Bitcoin. Possible inside bar reversal here. Outside inside bar down. If you break above there, that's inside bar reversal to the upside on GBTC, and I like that because also on the monthly chart, you got the month already broke up, so it already went inside bar up on the monthly chart. So possible inside bar reversal on the weekly chart now for GBTC. Microsoft, they broke them this week, but they're starting to buy them back now, right? So Microsoft, they pulled it all the way back to the 8-period moving average on the weekly chart, right? So they really sold them, broke below the prior week's low, and now if they break above this high, that is your inside bar reversal to the upside, and Microsoft will not be far from those all-time highs, right? So these all-time highs are right there, right? Looks like it's going there, so that could just have been one of those, one of those break them before you buy them back scenarios. So watch for that high to get taken out. If it does, that's Microsoft heading to all-time highs. ATVI, so Activision Blizzard, same type of situation, right? Break them before they buy them back, possibly buying them back. There you go, inside bar reversal, and that would break it. That would take it a lot higher if it does that. And one more, I think, a good name, Net. So the Cloudflare, same thing, going into highs. This is a little tricky because it's going right into highs. It's got momentum in its name, but if you like trading momentum, this is definitely going to be a Momo stock. Inside bar up, inside bar down. You break above this pivot high there, and that will be your inside bar reversal on the weekly chart. A few other names. Let's go cyber. So here's another cybersecurity company, CyberArk. So outside, inside on the weekly chart, and that's good enough. That's already good by itself. Outside, inside, and up. But on the monthly chart, we have that outside bar down, inside and up now, right? So one wick extinguished, now coming back up. So going back after that pivot there. Okay, cyber arc. TSN, so Tyson Foods, interesting chart. Double inside month now. Okay, so definitely something's gonna pop here at some point soon. And on the weekly chart, we have this thing already playing out. You got an inside bar reversal that happened here. Inside bar up now, so it's slowly moving its way back up. And now you have possible time from alignment on your side if you can get above that monthly open. And final one, TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor. This thing has been very, very tight trading. So on the weekly chart, that's what it looks like. But if it breaks above here, there's your possible inside bar reversal to the upside. We got a new month coming, right? Look at the monthly chart, double inside. So that's two inside months in a row now. With that weekly chart, you break above there, right? That's an inside bar reversal to the upside, and that will be with full time from alignment if you can do that. Now let's do a few fast fire stocks, and we'll wrap things up. Our stars and dogs. They're looking to see what's trending, where the hot money's been going, where it's been leaving. Lowe's, man, this thing has been on fire. Look at Lowe's. Is that all-time highs? Is it all-time highs? Let's take a quick look here. Oh wow, yeah, Lowe's all-time highs. So people are doing renos like crazy. So definitely there, Lowe's going at all-time highs, and look at the strength of that trend, right? All the way from March 23rd there to the 19th even, it bottomed out, and no looking back. Wow, what a move on Lowe's. Yeah, I just want to see the weekly chart really quickly here. Wow, look, it is. Yeah, you had a slight lower low on that week there in April, but other than that, it has been gung ho. Deere, so John Deere. So a lot of these industrial companies have been showing strength now. So this is good news for Dow components. So here, look at Deere. So for the past couple weeks, nice strong trend there. Look at that. Does that look like a broad information? Yes, it does. Because you had this low, lower than that low. That looks very bearish, right? But then what happens is that oftentimes you can come right back outside through the other side of that range. So that looks like that. Okay, so there's your broad information right there. Okay, so John Deere looking good. Did test the 200-day moving average like we saw on the Dow, right? Like that's exactly what we saw on the Dow. This exact same thing. Is that interesting how it's turned out? So DIA, look exactly the same. There's your 200-day moving average. Now CAT, so Caterpillar, 200-day moving average right there. Look at that. Look how clean that one is. A tap of the 200-day there back in April, and a tap again here. Okay, but CAT the last 2 weeks performed very well. Dollar Tree came with earnings this week. Surprise, surprise. People shop a lot at Dollar Tree when things are tough. So yeah, I don't know if why Wall Street was surprised by the earnings on that one. I don't know where you guys live or if you have any dollar stores in your area, but the dollar stores around my area, there's always people standing in line to get into the store. And so yeah, it doesn't matter which dollar store you're talking about, Dollar Tree or DG, Dollar General, or in Canada Dollarama, they're all doing very, very well in these tough times. So Visa doing very well. So this is a very strong uptrend on Visa. It's been strong for a while now. So money going back into Visa. And another one that's been holding up very, very well once it came back is Xylo. It's the home software company that also has expanded out into actually buying properties outright. But Xylo looking pretty strong. That means real estate in the U.S. looking favorable. Now dogs. Now let's take a look at some of these dogs. LK, man, is this thing gonna bottom at some point? LK, this past week it didn't go anywhere. It's basically flatlining. So maybe here it's consolidating, but it's certainly one of the ugliest looking charts that's in my watch list. LK, Luckin Coffee. Wuba, Chinese ADR name. This has been in a downtrend this past week. I'm not quite sure why this is different than some of the other names, but Wuba, they're selling them off. I'm gonna see the weekly chart here. Yeah, so the weekly chart, look how tight that was until it finally expanded to the downside. Not looking so hot. And a couple of more tech names to go over. One is Roku. So Roku, surprisingly, it's been in kind of a 2-week downtrend now. So this is one of the scenarios where they're definitely breaking Roku down, trading below the weekly open, below the monthly open, but above the quarterly. So Roku now showing weakness. Is this going to be viable at some point? You have to wait and see. Right now, you have a bit of a bullish hammer there, but you do have the new month coming as well. But on the monthly chart, let's see what Roku looks like. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of holding in there. It's yeah, it's holding its own above the quarterly open there, but you have a lot of time for misalignment, which is why it's going nowhere. So you got a new month coming up, so if we can break above there, that pivot's the natural one to go after on Roku. Same kind of thing. You had two more stocks I'm going to show you today, and surprisingly, you know, with our week this week, that is Netflix and Amazon. So the FANG names, they broke them, right? So they broke them, like we said already, on the Qs, they broke them, and now they're buying them back. So the past couple weeks, Netflix has been very weak, so they broke them. It kind of bottomed here on Tuesday, because this is the 50 period right there. That's your 50 period, and this is your tap of the lower Bollinger Band. Okay, so now if this holds this area, it's come back to the other side. That's the nature of the Bollinger Bands. If you can take out one side of the band and it holds, you're going back to the other side, like we saw here. You took out the top end, all right, could not continue higher, could not do the Bollinger Band walk, boom, goes to the other side of that band. Netflix now setting up to do the band to band. And finally, yes, I said Amazon, right? Amazon, there we go. Very tight stuff on Amazon, but they bought it back on Tuesday, so they broke Amazon, right? Just like we said with Netflix, they broke it down for about 5 sessions, and it took them below this line here is the 20. It broke below there, they bought it back. So I'll see the weekly chart here. Yep, so you can see the big bullish hammer, but at one point during the week, it was way down here. It tested the monthly open, right? So look at that, shooting star on Amazon, and then it went down, but turned into a bullish hammer. So those two counter each other, and if you get a break above that on Amazon, you're going back higher. Okay, so that's pretty strong still on the monthly chart. But again, at the daily chart, this is what it looks like. They defended here, okay, that 20 period, and then they pulled a reversal, and it's slowly going back up now. So, you know, money had been going out of Amazon up until Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, so that's a wrap for the fast fires. We did the stars and dogs as always. I want to thank you for joining me this week on the video. I appreciate all the positive feedback. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section, either on YouTube or on the blog at thetradingedge.org. If you want to know when these videos drop, you can subscribe on YouTube by clicking on that subscribe button, or head over to the blog site, thetradingedge.org, and click on subscribe to subscribe to my newsletter, where I share each week trading perspectives as well as these videos. They usually come out on Sunday evening to prepare you for the coming trading week. If you really like the videos, as I said already, you can subscribe, but share them with your friends and colleagues. That way we can grow the community and get more like-minded traders involved in what we do here. So I want to wish you a good trading week. Stay strong and happy trading. We'll talk to you again next week. All the best.